It's perhaps the greatest Saturday for sports betting that we've ever had. 3 college football playoff games, 2 NFL games. I'll be covering all of them today here on the Power 5. As a reminder, you can comment at any time down below with your thoughts on these matchups. We're going to start with college football, then I'll hit the NFL. SMU, Penn State, noon Eastern time on TNT. Yes, TNT carrying a couple of these games. We all know the narrative that exists surrounding Penn State head coach James Franklin. Guy can't win the big one. To that point, Franklin is a woeful 7-32 straight up all time versus top 15 opponents. SMU, obviously ranked number 11. It just so happens that Franklin has never been this large of a favorite against a top 15 opponent. His Nittany Lions are holding steady, though, as 8.5-point favorites. No real movement on the spread as of Friday, but the total has slowly trickled up to 54, and it opened 52.5. As I discussed on the morning wager with Mark Zinno, I do believe Penn State will be able to score in this matchup. The 2 times that SMU was an underdog during the regular season, they gave up 44 and 27 points. They also just allowed 34 in the ACC championship game. So look at Penn State's team total, which is currently 31.5. They've gone over that number in 8 of 13 games this season. History is not on the side of Clemson as they take on Texas, 4 p.m. Eastern on TNT. Not only is Texas a perfect 22-0 straight up as a double-digit favorite since 2022, but the previous 8 teams to be a double-digit dog in the college football playoff are 0-8 straight up and 2-6 against the spread. Of course, that was when we only had 4 teams, not 12. I do agree with the odds makers that Texas is clearly the better team here. They have a much better yards per play differential while facing a much tougher schedule. But I do think Clemson could stay in the game for a half. FanDuel still hanging plus 7.5 for those of you who want to bet the first half. Remember, even in the game they got blown out by Georgia, that was the season opener, Clemson did cover the first half number. That game versus Georgia was the only time since 2012 they were a bigger underdog than they are here. Money has come in on both Texas and under for the game, but I think, again, Clemson stays within a touchdown in the first half. Probably the first round matchup everyone is looking forward to the most is Tennessee and Ohio State, 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Will the Vultures be circling embattled Buckeyes head coach Ryan Day at the Horseshoe Saturday night? All I can tell you is that if Ohio State gets off to a poor start in this game, there is a chance the crowd, the Columbus faithful, will start to turn on them. Now, the Buckeyes have moved from -7 to -7.5, so somebody likes them. But let's talk about the total, which now sits at 46 after opening 47. The 6 Ohio State games this season that had a total of 50 points or lower all stayed under. I think you need to get a little creative, though, when it comes to betting the under. One of the ways you can do that is by betting under on Tennessee's team total of 19.5. I do not trust this Vols offense in a true road environment, especially going against an Ohio State defense that is number 1 in the country, both in scoring and yards allowed. Once the competition got better, Tennessee's offensive numbers plummeted. They averaged just 398 yards and 25 points per game against SEC foes this year. I do not think we will see much scoring from Rocky Top Saturday night. All right, on to the NFL, where we start with the Texans at the Chiefs, 1 p.m. Eastern on NBC or Peacock. Patrick Mahomes is confirmed as in for the Chiefs. My first reaction is that I wish I would have teased Kansas City back when Mahomes' status was uncertain and they were sitting at plus 2.5. Now they're minus 3.5 as they look to move closer towards clinching home field advantage in the AFC come playoff time. Couple angles to consider here. One is that Houston has been the league's best first half team. Now 12-2 ATS in the first half. I talked about that last week on the Power 5. Said to take them in the first half against Miami. They cashed again. Of course, the other thing to consider here is that the under is now 20-10-1 in games started by CJ Stroud, the Texans' second-year quarterback. I'm going to have even more on this matchup on Friday's edition of Wager Talk today. But to me, if you like the Texans, bet them in the first half because they're only 2-12 ATS in the second half. And if you're looking at the total, I think under is probably the way to go there. Lastly, there is a ton of info to go through with Steelers-Ravens, 4:30 Eastern on Fox. Much of the info points towards taking the dog. The previous 8 meetings between these rivals have all been decided by 7 points or fewer. In fact, those 8 games were decided by a total of just 34 points. Blindly backing the underdog in this AFC North rivalry would have you at 16-2-1 ATS since 2015. Wow. Go back 20 years, underdogs of 3 or more in this rivalry, 23-4-3 against the spread. Mike Tomlin is a perfect 8-0 ATS all time as a dog of 4 or more against the Ravens. So, all that being said, we're back in the Steelers here, right? Well, there is a way to counteract all those trends if you like the Ravens, and that is to tease them down to -0.5. That's what I did. As my clients know, I already cashed the first leg of the teaser with Denver plus 8.5 on Thursday. If you missed out on that, consider adding Cincinnati on Sunday as the second leg of a teaser with Baltimore. I think it's an anomaly that the Steelers have won 8 of the last 9 against Baltimore. Baltimore's been the better team throughout those years, and I think Baltimore's the better team right now. They're number 1 in yards per play differential in the league, number 1 in DVOA. I think Baltimore's going to win this game. Okay, for my top picks on Saturday and all weekend long for that matter, head on over to wt.buzz/BP. I am on a 12-4 all sports run entering Friday, including a perfect 3-0 the last 3 days. Not only that, but 60-39 last 99 CFB selections. That's plus 58.5 units. I'm plus 36.9 units with bowl picks since 2022 as well. And if you want to get locked in for the rest of the bowl season, it's just $149 to do so. It gives you every college football play I release from now through the national championship game. Also, if you want to get every play I release in every sport from now through January, you can do that as well for a heavily discounted price. Buy a 30-day all access right now, and we will extend your service all the way through the end of January. Again, just head on over to wt.buzz/BP to take advantage. That is going to do it for Saturday's edition of the Power 5. Sincerely hope you enjoyed it. Smash that like button if you did. Make sure you're subscribed to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And until next time, guys, let's cash some tickets.